What?
So tell me about your lesson.
Okay, so it's going to be a comprehension lesson that I started today. I noticed, like, at first I thought he was really good at answering right there questions, but when we were doing our comprehension lesson today on questioning before, during, and after, I had modeled it, and then he was reading a Cam Jansen book, and he was reading it silently, and then we were stopping at the end of each page, and I was saying, you know, did you confirm any of your questions from before reading or your prediction, or do you have any questions? And he was confirming questions that we had posed before, but he wasn't asking any questions. Like, he was like, no, I don't have any questions. And then I figured I'd do like a little comprehension check, so I said to him, I asked him a very simple question that was laid out, like, what was Cam Jansen's name before she got her nickname Cam? And he had no idea. And it said the second to the last sentence that he read said her name was Jennifer. Her name was Jennifer, her real name. And I said, why don't you read that paragraph again? And then he found it. But that was a right there question, which I thought he had down, because in the testing he did that very well, but he's not always doing it.
So he was reading silently, you said, right?
He was reading silently.
So what did that make you think? What did that make you like have an idea for the next lesson, which I guess is that what you're actually doing then?
Well, I'm finishing this. It was too long.
Okay, yeah.
It was too long. So what I'm doing tomorrow is still questioning, and he's recording his questions before, during, and after, and confirming and writing them the answers that he gets from the story as we read. So I don't know what I'm asking. I'm asking, like, I guess maybe I should also do some, maybe question types.
I was going to ask you what you think, if that type of question wasn't working, do you think a different type of question could work?
I mean, it was a right there question. That's a basic question. Well, I guess that wasn't really my goal of the lesson, so maybe I should have...
Okay, what was your goal?
The goal of my lesson is to just get him thinking what you do before you read a book, while you read a book, and when you're done. Because I feel like he doesn't do that. Like, I feel like he just reads it and, you know, he's just kind of like whatever. You know, and whatever he gets, and whatever he doesn't, you know, he doesn't.
And you said this isn't silent reading, correct?
Well, this was silent. He's going into 4th grade.
Yeah.
So I'm taking 2nd grade level text, or level J and K text, and trying to get him to, like, we're talking about it orally, but I want him to read it silently, because I feel like that's where he's going to need to be in 4th
Absolutely.
grade.
I understand what you're saying.
And we did do fluency where he read orally. But in the comprehension piece, I was going to go with the silent reading. Well,
is it okay to do more than one type of reading in that chapter? Like, is it okay to do silent and oral reading? And then I'm wondering if you tried multiple or variety of ways to read it, if maybe you could pinpoint when and where he's having that trouble. But I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, maybe if maybe I need to cut down the portions of text that he was reading, because he read the whole page, which I thought wasn't a lot of text. But maybe if we stuck to just...
How many words do you think it was?
It was probably on that page, maybe 60.
Okay. So probably wasn't long and very long, but for whatever reason for him, maybe something's going on. Maybe there's a breakdown. I don't know what it is either, but I would imagine as you continue to work on these skills, it's going to come out. So what is your plan then to do for tomorrow? That's different than today.
Well, tomorrow I was just going to finish. I didn't finish. Obviously I had to cut it short, but I wanted to finish reading the book and confirming our prediction from the beginning, and trying to answer the questions that he has. He's not posing any questions, so should I put a sticky note in there and say, maybe what question is in your mind right now?
Am I hearing you say, like, almost forcing him to write it down?
Yeah.
That sounds like a good idea. You come up with this idea. This is it. I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen?
he still won't have a question.
That's it. That's the worst. But you're already there, right? So in the grand scheme of things, that's not that bad then. But I think if you put it there, maybe he will.
All right, so I mean, I've already read the book, obviously. I know where a couple questions should arise that would, it's a mystery. So obviously at certain points in the text, you should have some questions about, the turn of events. So if I put a little sticky note there, maybe he'll have to stop and think about a question, and then I guide him through it?
Yeah, maybe, I mean, he writes it down.
I don't want to give him the question.
No, but if he writes it down, you go over it, you discuss it, and maybe as you're discussing that question, maybe there's a question you really want him to find, but he doesn't find it. Maybe you lead him. Like the way we do with coaching. Okay, so what I hear you saying is this. Was there anything else? Something like that. And I don't know that would work either, but it's worth a shot so that you have some other things.
So I will put some sticky notes where I think he should ask questions.
Okay.
And then how are you going to help me?
Do you want me to notice how many times, you know what, instead of me telling you, how about you tell me how you want me to help you?
I'm thinking that I don't want to give him the questions, so
Okay.
maybe you can keep track of the types of questions I ask him.
Okay, keep track of types of questions.
That I ask him that maybe
Are you
could
saying,
be
like-
more leading or,
Okay, types of questions that you ask. Are you saying like inferential, text-based, or critical, or are you asking more like, are they leading or not leading?
yeah, are they giving him too much? I want him to come up with
Okay.
the questions. So are my questions and is my instruction hindering him from coming up with the question, or is it
Okay, are your questions too,
leading?
yeah, leading, or clue-based? I'll just put that and then I'll create some kind of sheet for that, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so if I understand from what we just talked about, as this lesson unfolds, what you would like to see your student do is use those sticky notes that you put in his book to actually come up with a question. And if it unfolds the way you want it to, it would be him coming up with the questions and the good ones on the sticky note. Okay, and then you would be discussing them afterwards?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what are you going to...
He's going to be confirming his questions as he goes through the
Okay.
test. That's what I'm trying to get him to do. I told him good readers ask questions, and they make predictions, and that changes. They get answered, and they change as you go.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're working on. And they all lead to, the ultimate plot of the story. So what I'm trying to, he knows it's a mystery. We talked about that. We talked about how, you have this problem, and then these steps to solve the problem.
Sure.
So I want him to notice those steps
All right, so
through his questioning.
So let me ask you this question. If I hear you correctly, and if I were to envision your lesson, what I would see would be you, as he's reading, he would be coming up with these questions that are the ones that you would hope he would see as he would be reading, and then as he reads, he would be confirming them. Oh yes, this did happen, or oh no, this did not happen. That's what you would envision for your best outcome. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, that's okay. So that's something else I just want to mark down, is that he also confirms.
Mm-hmm. He's asking and answering.
Confirms his questions, or asking and answering, and like you said, sometimes he wouldn't be able to answer, but that's okay too. And asking and answering. Do you have a particular sequence of like what you're doing first, next, last? I know I'm only seeing this particular part of the lesson.
I usually start with the fluency, but if whatever time you want to come in, I can do it first. So at 10:20, so
Okay.
it's easier.
Do you want? Is there a time that you want me to come in? Is it easier for me to come in at 10:20, or is it easier some other time?
I guess just come in at like 10:20.
Okay.
I'll do the comprehension first, and then
Okay. And what room are you in?
10:69.
Okay. And I think this has already been said too, so I'm going to just ask this question to make sure I understood it right. You see this as being a successful lesson if the child, what's his name? Gregory. If you see Gregory writing down questions and answering them, is he doing it orally as he's checking it? Is it something that you monitor?
Yeah, we're stopping at the end of every page and talking about the questions that he had
Okay.
and if they were answered. He actually is good at answering them. He's not asking any
Okay.
questions.
So good at asking.
So I feel like I'm guiding him too much.
So you want, it would be a more successful lesson for you if he actually asks questions this time.
I want
Is
him
that what
to
I'm
start
hearing?
asking.
Okay. All right, so asking questions, that's really what you want him to do, ask questions. You really want him to be involved, at this point what you're saying. What will you look for in your tutee's reaction to know if directions are understood? Ooh, you know what, that makes me think of a question. Do you think he understands what you want from him?
Possibly. Well, we did it together. I modeled it, and he actually worked with me with a read aloud that we
Okay.
did. And he did a great job, excellent job.
So when
When
you
we were
so
doing
the
it
model is
together,
successful.
and he did his before questions. I guided him a little bit, but they were good. But when he was reading through the text, he could answer questions that we posed together, but he wasn't asking any himself.
Did you, I hear you saying that you modeled it the first time and he did really well when you were working together. So it seemed like you did, I do, you do. I do, we do. And now you want him to do. When you modeled it, did you model asking questions that weren't originally posed? Do you know you said you asked questions that were already posed and then you answered them, but did you ever...
No, we posed them together.
Yeah, you posed them together, but did you ever show him what you're looking for now as you're reading a new question comes up?
Yes.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay. So then how do you know that he what did you look for to know that he understands the directions about him doing his on his own then? Is it just what we just discussed, is that through the modeling? And he seemed like he understood it?
Well, he did when we were doing it together. It's just now that he's reading silently, he's not pulling the questions out.
Okay, so he's not pulling it out silently.
And I even stopped him at a point where, you know, I said, can you reread that and see if you come up with any questions? And he was like, I don't have any.
All right, so let me just go back at what I'm looking for, because I'm going to make myself a sheet so that I can keep accurate data. I'm going to keep track of the types of questions that you ask and find out if they're leading questions or they're clue-based and really not making him work, and it's more you working than him.
Or maybe I need to guide him more
Okay.
since he's not doing
Okay.
it. I don't know.
Or guide him more. Okay. I'm also looking for him to ask and answer questions and confirm his questions as they pose them. And I'll know that it's successful, or that what you viewed being successful is if he asks questions as he reads and he actually fills it out and posts it. Okay, does that sound about right? All right, great. Well, I can't wait to see the lesson more. I'll be in at 10:20.